town called Marblehead. Ooh, everyone's being recorded. Here we go. And I'm happy to say that I've actually given talks at KW Stanford, like at Prestige Properties, many times. And I've had the privilege of working with Jen Henry and Diane Del Vecchio and other agents at your office. And I'm actually a client of Adam Wagner. So I love your office. I'm really glad to be back with you, if only on a screen. Let's just do this if this is what we've got. So today I'm going to offer you the compelling expert model and just a tiny bit more background on me. So I am the creator of what's called the Generosity Practice Mindset Tool. This is about being unstoppable. I just published this book. And I also created something called the Innate Marketing Genius model, which if you've taken the assessment, you just got a taste of that. That is going to help you tell a better story today to become that compelling expert. So we're going to go into that. All right, so I'm going to share my screen now and share with you this model. Hold on. And here's hoping that, that this is going to work. All right, here we go. So raise your hand if you can see that. You see it? Awesome. Okay. We're working, we're cooking with gas. All right, so here's what makes it really hard, because I want you to get out there and be the compelling expert, right? Who doesn't want to be that? It's just like you're the one who shows up and really makes a difference in people's lives, and they decide to work with you, and you know a lot as the experts. But here's what gets in the way. There's so many ways to get out there, right? And also you've probably tried a bunch of things, and a lot of them have not worked. So how, it's so easy to be resigned, like, oh, marketing. Okay. Here we go again. The other thing is you're a business owner and you've got like 5,000 things you need to do to run your business, and you're really close to what you do. So you can't always describe it well. And I'm also going to put in there your marketing brain, because marketing is by its very nature a little bit grabby, right? You just want to get out there and just like impress people, get their attention. That mode of being is not going to make you a compelling expert, I'm sorry to say. So here are the 3 secrets we're going to walk through together to marketing as a compelling expert. And the first one, of course, is a great brand story. Like, why should I work with you as an agent versus the agent next to you, right? And that comes from your brand story, which what I have discovered, if it comes from your why, right? Like that why, your purpose in life, how you love to serve others, it needs to be rooted in that. I'm going to help you with that today. Also your expertise, that's the obvious. Let's see, your experience and your training and your community feedback. Like, what do people tell you about what you do so that you get better and better and better? And then finally, consistency. We need to see you out there regularly. I know you've heard this, but what you might not have heard is that this means you need to pick like one right strategy that shows you at your best. And that is not easy. So I lied. The second secret is not your expertise, because guess what? That's not a secret. The secret is mindset. And I already mentioned to you the generosity practice work. So we're going to go more into that. But what I mean is, what if you had the mindset of being unstoppable, ready to be a contribution, and bold? That's a good marketer right there. So let's start off with telling a clear message and a better story. So number 1, you are ready. I mean, most of you have taken this assessment and discovered your marketing archetype. Now, I know that some of you got 2, and that's all right. But this marketing archetype is going to help you with this challenge. Now, because so many of you have done this, we are actually not going to take 5 minutes and have you do it, because I think most of you have done it. So put a note in the chat. I'm actually going to check this. Put a note in the chat if you have not taken the assessment. Who has not? Michael Church. Okay. If that's the case, let me grab real quick. I'm going to give you the link, and you can just take 5 minutes as you hear me talking, no problem. I'm going to give you this. Okay. The link is there. Go for it. And once you've taken it, oh, great. Michael Church is, sorry. I put that in the wrong place. Oh, wait, no, I didn't. Okay, great. So Tanya, I see that you have not. Amina, I see you have not. Sorry, Michael, I thought you had said that. So you guys take it, and when you're done, please put the type that you have in the chat. Take your time. You're not going to miss anything. Just take a moment and do that. I was so impressed with how many people did it beforehand that I just made the executive call like, yeah, let's just move on. And it's only 5 minutes. So just take a moment and do that. But I'm going to keep going here. All right, so while those guys are doing that, that's the timing. Here's what this means. And so I'm going to ask you to recall what you are, and I'm going to go way more into this in a second, but really briefly, nurturers, you make it safe for others to thrive. Adventure guides, you see big things that are possible for others to achieve. Door openers, you open up new worlds with your ideas. Steady presences, you assure people they have what they need to move forward thanks to your resources. And celebrators, you love bringing the good life. All right. And I'm actually going to skip that for a second. So now let's talk really briefly about the mindset work. Actually, you know what? We are ready to move over to the types. Okay. So I'm actually going to deep dive right into these types. And what I want to do is tell you, because I know you guys took this. Let me just double check that everybody knows what they are. So go ahead and put in the chat if you took it and you forgot what you are. Like, I think most of you took it in the last couple of days. So I'm just going to stop share and check in with you guys. So put in the chat if you don't remember what you are. There are nurturers, adventure guides, door openers, steady presences, and celebrators. Okay. So now that you know what you are, and again, if you're two of them, that's all right, because you can use both of them. I'm going to tell you what those mean. And then at the end of that, I'm going to help you tell a better story. That's when you go into the breakout rooms. Okay. You're going to get to ask a really key question for depending on your archetype. Okay. All right, here we go. So here's what it means. We have a lot of nurturers, by the way. We have a lot of nurturers, a lot of celebrators, and a lot of adventure guides. So here we go. So if you're a nurturer, here's what you love. You love making it safe for other people to thrive. All right. And the way that you do this is you just create your own kind of sanctuary. This is literal. It could be figurative. Like you just love putting people at their ease. And your strengths are the following. And by the way, if you took the assessment, you're going to get an email with a reminder of all these. So you usually bring warmth, you help people relax, you provide a human touch, you create community, you get our trust, and you bring relief in challenging moments. And if you were a dessert, you are most likely a really yummy oatmeal with berries because you're nourishing and lovely. And then on the right, if you were a song or a theme song, it would be a lullaby. So here's how you tell your story. If you're a nurturer, you don't need to impress us and show all your solutions right out of the gate. What really helps is to meet people in their challenge. You want to show them you understand, that you've been there before, that you totally you get their pain. Then you offer the examples of what similar situations and how they were resolved. And then you offer the relief. So that's how you tell your story. So real quick example of an ongoing case study I'm tracking. So Amanda Hammett is a millennial consultant. She gives talks, or used to give talks in person like this, to huge organizations about retaining millennial and Gen Z talent. And the way she told her story was, hey, I get your pain. This is the worst generation ever, you say, right? But then she comes in with like, hey, if you don't have a workforce, everything else you talked about today won't happen. And every generation has been the worst. So she wasn't afraid of getting in there and really addressing the pain. And then at the end of her talk, she shows that she's the solution. So that is a nurturer. All right, we have a few adventure guides. So here is what it means to be one. You absolutely love to help other people reach for their greatest potential. Like that is your why. The way that you do it is you're bold. You're bold out in your life, both in how you speak and how you act. And so therefore you are an example for others, so they will reach for their big goals. And here's what you bring to the table. You see what's possible in others, right? You embrace your own adventures, you help others live to the fullest, and you speak bold truths. So we need you out there big because you get us into action. If you were a dessert, you would be a granola bar, of course. And if you're a theme song, for those of you who know this song, the Top Gun anthem, right? Yeah. Okay, focus on, this is how you tell your story. You want to focus on the big stuff they could achieve. So for real estate, it's like, what, actually, I'm going to give you an example in a second. You challenge yourself to share about this, and then you share about it. So like, you need to be going for it. You can't just tell other people to do it, right? So what are the bold goals you have in your life that you can share with others? And then don't worry about focusing on the how or showing your expertise, because all we care about are the results. And here is an example of a Keller Williams agent based in Boston who is a quintessential adventure guide. She wrote a book called You Can Have It All with Real Estate. And so the bold goal she's helping people reach for is financial freedom through investing in real estate. And so she has done it and shares about that in the book. Now her marketing is all about really great interactive webinars that take all those lessons and offer them in a palatable format so people can just get it. And if they want to work with her, they work with her to do it. Okay, a couple people had door opener as their type. So let me just walk through this one. If you're a door opener, it's different from an adventure guide. You are this natural educator that rocks our world by opening up a new way of looking at something, right? Like you change lives in that way and you love it. So this is your brain. Like a lot of times door openers have so many ideas, they don't even know where to start. And that's a good, healthy place to be for door openers. More on that in a bit. And obviously the how is you actually do this. The way you help us is you open up our perception, you offer your perspective. So what are your strengths? You explore innovative, uncomfortable perspectives, you refresh our minds, you constantly learn, you start new things. It's always about like, okay, what's another way to look at it? Oh, what's another idea I could have? Like you're never stuck in one viewpoint. It's incredible. And then you're generous about that. So on the left is you, the dessert, because there's this guy, I think he's in Chicago, Grant Schatz. He's like the #1 chef in America, maybe. That's one of his desserts. I'm going to call that innovative. I don't even know what that is. And then on the right is somebody who does mumble rap. His name is Gunna. I don't listen to that music, but it's innovative. It's weird and different, and people have strong opinions about it. So here's how you tell your story. The most fundamental thing for door openers is to realize that you're always asking people to innovate. So please only introduce one idea at a time. And then obviously give those examples, and then give us a low risk way of trying stuff, right? Make it easy for us to say yes. Because again, you're asking us to innovate. Here is a transformational coach, quintessential door opener, Andy Cahill. He is also based up here. He found his perfect marketing strategy because here he is on a podcast, basically exploring ideas and seeing possibilities with all kinds of thinkers. I actually was on his podcast about a year ago, and he shows how he is a great coach at the same time, and people just hire him based on listening to one episode. Like, it's really working for him. All right, steady presences. I think actually, Michael, you said you were a steady presence. So we do at least have one. So if you're a steady presence, this is your why. You want people to know that they have what they need to move forward. It's like this really reassuring quality. And the way that you do that is you have this deep treasure trove of expertise and network, like lots of people that you know, and resources. And here's what you bring to the table. So you've got these deep resources, expertise, network. You also love to study thoroughly. And you have our back, think of yourself as that lighthouse, really, really steady. And energetically, when you're marketing, you actually can lean back and let people come to you. I know it's like, thank God, right? Steady presences don't always like to market. So on the left is the steady presence dessert, which is just a good old fashioned apple pie, standard stuff, but always awesome. And on the right, let's just say Bach's Cello Sonata number 1, again, classic and amazing every time and steady. All right, so how do you tell your story if you are a steady presence? Honestly, a lot of steady presences tear their hair out about this, and it's actually pretty straightforward. Just go into your deep treasure trove, right? What is it you love geeking out about? Then educate us. And even you're allowed to go over our heads because we love it when you geek out. In fact, it just tells us you know what you're talking about. So we should pick up the phone and know more. So share show a resource, share a person you know, demonstrate your expertise. And then another thing is, because you're a pillar in the community, demonstrate what you're doing in the community. It's more powerful for steady presences than anybody else when you put that in your marketing. So here's a financial advisor, also a client, who is a steady presence. And he has done this, especially over COVID, a wonderful podcast. And this has made, he takes these really stressful financial issues and does bite-sized, 13 to 15 minute, very calming, almost like Yoda-like podcasts about those big issues like debt, budgeting, et cetera, et cetera. And great for getting clients. So the last category, and I know we have a bunch of you, celebrators. So celebrators are what I think everyone else thinks that real estate agents are all the time. So a celebrator loves to bring the good life. And that is your why. And the way that you do that is you've got your own special flair, right? And so that's how you bring the good life, by offering that. Your strengths are one of the following. You either have oh my gosh, she walks in the room and it's a party, right? You're the fun. A certain style, maybe humor, some kind of flair that you're bringing to the table. Then you also, it's super easy for you to enjoy things and help others to do so as well. And in the time of crazy pandemic life, this is absolutely fundamentally helpful. And then finally, you make dry mechanical things vital. If you were a dessert, you're the wedding cake from the Great British Bake Off on the left, because to me, that has lots of flair. And on the right, if you had a theme song, it would be Can't Stop the Feeling by Justin Timberlake, because I don't know anyone who can't move when they hear that song. Okay, so this is how you tell your story. If you're a celebrator, it's going to sound too easy, but I'm telling you, this is magnetic. Just share your enjoyment of things in your work with your wider business community. And look around. And actually, Diane Del Vecchio was doing this for a while before COVID hit. She was doing Facebook Live interviews with leaders in Stanford. And that's a really great celebrator strategy. You're good at appreciating leaders. I always like to have the example of John F. Kennedy appreciating the space program. It's not a cute thing to do, right? We need people like that to lift up the whole tide so that all the ships rise. So don't knock it. Anyway, so here's a dog trainer who is a quintessential celebrator, and she's got, the happy Instagram feed and always showing how fun it is, what the good life looks like with a dog. I mean, look at the front of her website. It's live the fun life you want to with the best dog in the neighborhood, right? I mean, such a celebrator message. Okay, so that is who you are. Now I'm going to let you go into breakout rooms, and here's what you're going to do. So, Rick, if you're there, I would just love to check in with you and see how we're doing with the groups, if you are good to go.
Yeah, so I don't have a lot of people, so I'm going to kind of push them randomly, but the people I do have are in the rooms.
Fine. Yeah, so there'll be, shall we say 4 people per group? Can we do that?
That's going to be right, yeah.
Okay, fantastic. So what I'm going to do is I have developed activation questions based on who you are. So if you know you're a nurturer, and I know some of you got 2, so just pick one and try it on. If you know you're a nurturer, I have a question for you, right? If you know you're an adventure guide, I have a question for you. And I'm actually going to put them, hang on one hot second. I'm going to put them in the chat. What I'm also going to do is after we're done, I'm going to send the workbooks. Like, let's say you're a celebrator and you want to know all the questions. I have a workbook for you. So here are, ooh, hold on. That was not pretty. I'm going to try that again. Okay, there we go. That's better. So just real quick, nurturers, what are you making it safe from, right? Like nurturers really like to make it safe for people. So think about the quintessential monsters you're protecting them from, any of your clients. If you're an adventure guide, how could your clients be bolder with the goals that they choose? Door openers, this is more of a process question than a content question. You always have tons of ideas. So how do you go from 10,000 ideas to one? Tell me a process. Do you go take a walk? Do you just write it down? Like, tell me how you focus. Steady presences. What do you want to geek out on, right? How would you, like, what is it you want to deep dive on and understand better and then share it with your people? And finally, celebrators, what's the most fun you have in your work? I had a whole bunch of celebrators go in a breakout room and they just basically cackled and had a party, just enjoying. I mean, it's just so cool to see people dive into their, you know, their deepest why. So any questions before we move into breakout rooms? Also, the person with the longest hair is going to keep people on track with the time. So we'll make sure that like everybody gets a chance to answer the question. All right,
I had
so
this
yeah.
minute. When we go to the breakout rooms, what is it that we're trying to accomplish?
You are, based on your type, you are simply answering that question. And
Okay.
go lightly. There's no right or wrong. Just see what comes up. It's an exploration.
Okay.
Yeah. All right. And Rick, if you want to leave some people here in the main room, I'm happy to stay and kind of coach. So if you want to leave one of the groups here, that's totally cool too. So I think we're good to go. Bye, you guys. And this will be for 5 minutes, hopefully.
So I didn't put you in a room. I can kind of pop you in and out of room.
Oh, really?
I think so.
Okay. I would love that. Let me see if I have breakout rooms showing up on my side. Ooh, I see them. Let me
Yeah,
see.
so you might be able to just kind of pop into the one that you want.
Oh, this is hilarious. Fun, awesome, and brilliant. Nice. You know what? Let me see. Yeah, no, I think you need to do it.
Okay. And I also see that
These guys might not be at their desk, so they're not pressing go to my room or whatever.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
And it looks like Cal might be alone. So I think I'm just gonna move him into a different room and then move you into that same room. And then maybe I'll move you in a couple of minutes.
Yeah, and the total is 5. Are we doing 5 minutes total?
Yeah, we can absolutely do that. So let me move you, let me move him here. Okay. And I'll pop you into that same room. Okay, see you later.
Okay.
Set an alarm for 12:34.
I think, let's see, can you guys hear me? Yes, I think everybody's muted.
Yes.
Oh, come back, you guys. All right, so you got a taste of, how to focus yourself such that your deepest why is coming forward. And if you didn't quite resonate with it, try another question from another type. Like if you're, well, I'm an adventure guide, but maybe I really want to lean into the celebrator side, then focus on what you enjoy about your work. Does anyone want to chime in about anything before we move on? Like, what did you notice? How was that? Any questions? Floor is yours. Okay. Well, I know how painful it is to sit in front of a Zoom conference, even for just an hour. So I have a little commercial break for you guys. I do a cold dip in the ocean twice a week with a group, and my dog just learned how to swim.
I can barely hold on to it. That was hilarious.
Sammy, there's Sammy.
Sammy's a bad thing, unless that's.
And there's Millie.
There's
Millie.
Looks like he
Hi,
likes
Millie.
it.
A little drive-by.
Look at her. I'm out. She's done.
Okay, stay tuned for how long we're actually going to do it, because it's already getting butt cold in the ocean. Anyone with me? Do you guys ever do cold dips or cold showers?
Is it actually a cold dip in the summer?
It's starting to be right now.
Correct.
Like in the summer, it doesn't really count,
Okay.
but we're going to keep going. Yeah. All right. So now let's talk about the next pillar of being a compelling expert. You just got a taste of how to tell your brand story. And like I said, I'm going to send Rick the worksheets with all the activation questions. And literally all you have to do is sit down with that workbook or worksheet and answer those. And they're really generative. So just let yourself hang out with those questions and you'll get some really good ideas. Okay. So, and that's based on your type. So nurturers are going to have different questions, obviously, than like celebrators. All right, so the next piece is the mindset piece. And that's that generosity practice, be unstoppable. Like, especially if you've tried a lot of stuff and a lot of stuff hasn't worked, this is especially important. And I use this with every single client I ever work with. So I have a couple of, let me just share with you real quick, a couple people talking about this. If you ever wanted to ask Jennifer Henry, she could talk your ear off about this thing. But in the meantime, I'm going to share a quick video. I'm going to make this real quick and dirty. Let me just share my whole screen and then go find it. Here we go. All right, so here's what people have to say about generosity practice, because it is a little bit like, it's hard to put your finger, like it's a mindset. How do you even talk about that? So here we go.
I have to say, I think most entrepreneurs have an idea that they've tested that they think may work well, may be great, and they're really excited and eager about it, but they may not have done the work to get really clear on their why behind the idea and behind their excitement. And I think for us, the generosity practice helped us to become really clear on our why. And it was surprising after going through the work to find what that was. It wasn't what the obvious, I think, answer, which not only was super eye-opening, but it allowed us to get really clear when then spreading our message to the world.
I think too, it's finding that passion purpose, like what is deep down inside that you need to reconnect with on a whole too, to bring out and share with the world. For me, that has been really impactful with my clients and just with myself too, of understanding why am I here, what am I doing, and honing in on what our business is and what we're trying to accomplish.
Well, it's huge. And being an entrepreneur, really, I am trying to enroll. I was just listening to a podcast the other day. Everywhere I go, I'm enrolling. I'm in that process. And instead of that being a win-lose process, it's just a win-win-win, or there doesn't need to be a win. It's an opportunity for me to help people along the way, to share what I do, to enlighten them on the coaching practice in general. And that's good for the whole profession. So
it's deeply mindful. It challenges you in a really fun way to be creative. And it shifts how you show up in your day. I mean, when I do this practice, and I've been doing it almost every day for more than 20 days now, I'm more peaceful, I'm more playful, I'm more patient, a lot of P's here coming through. And it makes it easier for me to do everything in my business that I want to be doing. It makes me notice like, yep, that's the most powerful thing I can do right now, and I'm gonna go do it.
All right, so with this, I want to give you a little flavor of it. This is a 10-minute daily practice, but you can do your own version of it. And I'm just going to give you a couple ways to do that. So you probably want something to write on and write with. So grab a pen and paper. You can use your device too. So the first thing we're going to do together is the very first exercise in my book. And this is like a 40-day program, and I wanted to make it really accessible for anyone to grab this book and just go nuts. So the first thing, and remember, resignation is the easiest thing, right? And oh, how am I going to get business? This is meant to turn you around and get you excited to get out there and serve. So it's a very simple pivot that you're going to start with. So the first thing is, I'd like you to think of 5 things. Pretend that you're somebody who can walk around town giving everyone something awesome, right? Like you're walking around Stanford or whatever town you're in, and you're just going to make everyone's day. And it could be anything. It could be a pile of money. It could be a dog, a pile of puppies, just great news about a relative who was having health problems. Like, please do not limit yourself, right? So write down 5 ideas of gifts that you would give to total strangers, because it would be delightful to give those gifts. Go. Let's go for 2 minutes.
5 gifts.
Yes, 5 things. 5 different things you would absolutely love to give total strangers. And when you're ready, you can, if you're finished, you can put 1 or 2 in the chat if you want to share. All right, I'm seeing flowers, and a couple people like to give books. I'm right there with you. All right, we just hit the 2-minute mark. Okay, so that's sort of like the fun, easy, like, hey, I'll just think of something. And if you're in an elevator or just like in line somewhere, this is just something to put your mind on that can change your energy. So here's a deeper level of it. And don't be hard on yourself if this is a little tough. I just want to open the door to something to contemplate. So I want you to contemplate one client. What you're going to do, think of a client that either you have now or you've worked with in the past. So just think of like, you're going to make that decision. And so what I'm going to do is guide you through a little exercise where you just have them in your awareness, and then you're going to get to think about something that they actually need. Because a lot of times when we work with people one-on-one, we're so in the day-to-day transaction, we're not actually aware of what they truly need at a deeper level from us. That might not be the case, but sometimes it is. So I want to give you a moment to just take a breath from a sometimes heated connection so that you can listen for a deeper need and then have the opportunity to fulfill it, even in just contemplation. So just take a moment. I know this is like maybe different than, I don't know if you guys have a meditation practice, but just take a moment. You can close your eyes if you want. This will be just a couple minutes. And just look at this as a little break from your day. And take a breath. And I'd like you to see yourself by Mill River in Stamford. Like if you know that river, just a river somewhere where you live that you enjoy. Just see yourself by a beautiful river. And if you don't see it clearly, that's all right. And invite that person so that you see them with you by the river. And again, we're just playing here, just see what happens. Let this be a little weird as you really stabilize your attention. And start to notice them. Start to notice, they're not right in front of you. They're not calling you and texting you. They're just there. And maybe you can notice things you don't normally notice. So just hang out with that for a second. And start to tap into what is it that would really help them right now. And don't worry if you can offer it or not in real life. Just kind of tune in, like what would really help this person? And let it be confusing. Maybe you don't know right out of the gate. That's fine. Maybe it's hard to focus. That's okay too. But if you are able, I invite you to imagine yourself giving that person what you just imagined they might really appreciate. Even if it's $1 million you don't have. I think sometimes when we work with clients, the focus is on like, oh gosh, they have these needs and I can fulfill most of them, but there's a lot that I can't fulfill. It's just really nice to try on. Wow, this is what they're really asking for. And, I just walked you through a 5-minute thing. Like, obviously it would be helpful to do this for longer when you have a moment, but this is just something to play with. You can open your eyes, by the way. Is just dipping your toe in these waters. So, and what this is meant to do is, again, take you out of overwhelm and resignation and into, oh my God, I love helping people. And that's another version of the generosity practice work. So, anyone have any questions or thoughts around what you just did? So I'm totally going to just call on you. Chris, I see your face. You're very present. How was that? Even if it was like, I got nothing. Like, what was that like for you?
Oh, no, it was good. It was, I'm a good visualizer, so I could definitely put myself in that place. I come up with paying off their mortgage.
Oh, nice. Yeah. And what was it like to be like, yeah, hi, I'm the best Santa Claus ever?
It's awesome.
That's great. Tanya, how about you?
I would like to give my clients a little bit more money so they can win their offer when I submit them.
Right? Oh, I hear about that pain all the time.
Yeah, but the steps help visualize, and that's very helpful.
Okay.
Visualizing first with the water and then all of that. Yeah.
Good. Yeah, let's give ourselves a break and just, right? Marion, since I see you, got anything you want to share? How was that? Oh, I think you're on mute.
Okay. I would say some clarity and simple living.
Okay, that's what you would offer.
Yes.
Okay. I was like, simple living. I'm thinking raising chickens.
Yes, I don't know. I think that during the pandemic, a lot of people, they hear the news, they have personal experiences, everything's topsy-turvy, and they're trying to make sense of it. And so you can go from, as Chris mentioned, there on one end of the spectrum, there's a very tangible, which is of course compelling, payoff to a change. And then there's something more abstract that you don't have to really deal with this stuff or worry about that. This is something you might consider, and then that wouldn't be there.
Okay. Love it. Yeah. Yeah. So, I mean, you guys are at Keller Williams. I'm not sure I would expect every real estate agent to want to even go here to the mindset stuff, right? Because I know that Gary Keller talks a lot about mindset. I mean, it's a lot of agents that I work with, they've got like the happy thoughts behind. I think that's a Keller Williams thing where it's like, there's consistency and commitment and right, like the blocks behind that. So I know that mindset, you guys talk about that a lot and I appreciate it. Because it makes such a difference. So, all right, well, we are winding down. And so I want to leave you with a nugget about picking a strategy. I have more to say about this, but I just want to ask a really powerful question so that you can make a choice to do less rather than more. Because I know that like there's so many ways you can get out there. Perhaps you're doing the BOLD program. How many of you done the BOLD program in the last 3 months? Anyone? Okay, because that's obviously a ton of work right there. So here's what I'd like you to consider when you're choosing your strategy. How do you actually love to connect with people? Right? I mean, yes, your marketing archetype matters. Yeah, huge. Like, are you a celebrator? That's going to influence it. Celebrators are usually good at event type stuff, where, you know, whereas adventure guides, it might be different than that. But a huge key piece is, you know, if you're somebody who absolutely loves to be up on stage wowing people, you need to be giving talks or webinars, you know, in a pandemic. If you are someone who really loves in-depth article writing and you love to like reveal, you know, all kinds of stuff and do the research and then help people in that way with some really thoughtful writing, then that's going to be part of your strategy. Or if it's time for you to write a book along those lines. There's many, you know, when I say a strategy, I'm not talking like, hey, you should have an Instagram feed. Although you can get very deep and thoughtful about Instagram, I know this, but what I've noticed again and again with my clients, and in particular my real estate clients, is if you hang your hat on one solid way to get out there and make a difference in people's lives such that they would hire you, that means you can actually do it every day instead of the 50 things. And that will help you become that compelling expert that everybody needs and wants, especially in a stressful real estate market. So I will leave you with that. I walk people through that process with every client I have. I ask them, what's your marketing archetype? What are your biggest business needs, right? Because it might be time for you to grow your list and do a lot of cold calling or whatever. But then the final big question is, how do you love to connect with people? And really going deep into that. Like, why do you love to give talks? Why do you love to do this? Why? And through that process, you're like, you know what? It's time for me to do a podcast, right? That's what I want, a really rich strategy for you to do every day so that people know who you are and they hire you, period. And you have mastery. Okay, so I want to leave you with a couple of next steps. Number one, you are going to get those workbooks from Rick. And, if you're a nurturer, you're going to get the nurture act, right? Like, yeah. And then number two, I wanted to invite you to a free thing called Marketing for Humans Hangout, where if you know what your type is, we go deeper into those questions and I can coach you on them, right? It's a 90-minute session. It's on October 4th at 10 a.m. And I'm going to just put the link in the chat right now. So that's like practically, it's like free coaching with me. And I would love to see you there. Let me just grab this. And then the last thing is, if you want to continue the conversation with me, it's easy to connect with me. Just go on my website and there's a meet with me page. And you can just take your pick, 15 minutes or 45 minutes. Let's chat. It's a good way to go deeper into like, oh, I'm a celebrator. What does that mean now? What's next? And obviously I would share with you how I work with people. But it's all about making you a compelling expert. And that does take focus, patience, consistency, all the things. And sometimes people want some help with that. So that's what I'm here for. All right. So all the links are there. I'm actually going to hang out for a couple of minutes. If you have questions or if if there's not a lot of people and you're like, tell me more about adventure guides, like I'll be here. Or if you want to just chat. So thank you so much for being here. I'm so happy that you're here with me on Zoom. I know it's exhausting, all these Zoom meetings. So thank you for coming today. It's really nice to meet you.
Thank you.
Oh, and Chris, you won because you told me that I had a snake behind me, I think. So you actually get a copy of this book. I'll send that to the office.
How can you get a copy of your book?
Oh,
I didn't win it.
So it's on Amazon. It just it's out in the world. So here's the link on that one. Hold on.
Does Chris share?
He might, but you know what? Let me show you the inside. It's actually a workbook. So if you look inside, like there's all these places, well, those are quotes, but there are all these places to write. It's really interactive, designy. So it's basically meant for one person. Any other questions about being a compelling expert? Anything we talked about?
I have a question. So if you're a nurturer and a steady presence, how do you combine the?
You're like the most calming person we've ever met. If you're both of those, that's really very stabilizing.
That is true. I
am. So what I would recommend is take a good look at both of those workbooks and just, spend 20-30 minutes answering those questions. And then my favorite thing is just take a break and come back. I'm a big believer in it will distill into something, right? Do you notice that? Once you give something some thought, then you take a break and you come back and you're like, I just got an aha. So because they are similar, but nurturers lean in more and steady presences lean back. So you can kind of play with both of those.
Okay, thank you. Oh, I have to tell Rick to send me both. Thank you.
Yeah, thanks so much for coming. Nice to see you again.
Nice to see you too.
All right, Marion, any questions before we close up shop? Oh, you're on mute. Still on mute.
I will check out your book.
Sweet.
Forward to yes, and I enjoyed your presentation. Thank you.
Yeah, that's wonderful. I'm so glad you came.
Thank you. Me too.
And Rick, if you're still there, I'll hang out for 1 minute. Have a good one, Marion. I don't know if you're still there. You still there?